Hey guys, we're back with the Mikawa Yatsubusa Showcase Part 2. I'm Matt. I think you're going to want to stick around for this one. We're talking about a few more of our favorite variations of Acer Palmatum Mikawa Yatsubusa. We've kind of coined this phrase here at our nursery. We want it to be part of like the Ghost series or the Pendulous Treasures collection. We like calling it the Mikawa Yatsubusa family and kind of pairing all these together in kind of a collection format. There's some of our favorite plants to talk about. I hope you'll enjoy this one.
So we discussed Mikawa Yatsubusa in our very first video, but it is a tightly layering, shingling type Japanese maple that's green that everybody loves. It's one of those plants that looks like an animal out there in the landscape and garden because of its tightly layering habit. It's great for bonsai, great for containers, and so are all of its progeny.
Yeah, this first one, I don't know if it's actually part of the progeny of Mikawa Yatsubusa. Tim got so excited about this, he didn't even say his name's Tim, but that's Tim. We're going to be talking about one of our favorite topics today, Mikawa Yatsubusa, and this one is actually Acer Palmatum Lima Gold. Now this one may come independently from that, we're not sure. We include it in that Mikawa Yatsubusa family because of its density, and it makes a great pairing with the Makawa family because it's one of the smallest leaf forms with that nice tight shape.
It's probably one of the best ones for bonsai for people who are looking for that smaller leaf because it has everything people love about making bonsai out of Mikawa Yatsubusa, but it also has that smaller leaf. It was a selection by Red Maple Nurseries who introduced great plants like Emperor One and classic trees out there in the nursery trade. And Ed Shin, one of our good friends, NJ Acer, y'all may know him by, had one of the original Lima Gold there in his garden. And it's in the nursery trade because Ed shared the signwood off of that plant to a lot of nurserymen, including us, to allow this plant to get back into the nursery trade.
Hey, shout out to Ed. I know he recently got that Ed and Debbie Shin Garden to Arboretum status. I know he's really proud of that. Congratulations on that. He's been so instrumental in some different plants, and this one really wouldn't be in the nursery trade if not for Ed Shin's garden. There's a gorgeous specimen of this right as you go into his front door, and all Lima Gold that I know of come from that one plant that he got from Dick Wolf. It's an excellent variation of this Mikawa Yatsubusa family. Has that density that you love about Mikawa Yatsubusa, but in a nice compact form. Now this one may not actually be in that lineage of Makawa. It actually has a nice variation of fall color. Oftentimes the gold name comes in from a more golden yellow fall color on this one.
And it is named after Lima, Pennsylvania. Amazing plant. Love everything this tree brings to the collection, being that smaller leaf variety of Mikawa Yatsubusa. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce this one because this one's one of my favorites.
All right, you ready for it, guys?
Kryptonite. Acer Palmatum Kryptonite. This plant's amazing. It's basically everything you love about like the variegation of something like a Mania no Sato, but in a Mikawa Yatsubusa form.
This one's probably coming 2023 to Mr. Maple, maybe spring or summer. We get a lot of requests for this one because I've shared it on social media. Kryptonite is a sport found off of Mikawa Yatsubusa by our friend Keith Johansson. Now, Keith let me graft this one. He never put a name on it. I always joked with him that it made me weak in the knees. So the original sport died off on that Makawa, but this one, I gave it the name Kryptonite because, I mean, it was my weakness. I saw this thing and I was like, you know, Superman, when he sees Kryptonite, he goes to his knees. I saw this one and I went, oh my gosh, like, hold on a second. I need a minute. I need a minute to regather myself. This one got my heart beating that fast. Kryptonite has some amazing swirls of variegation in it. Now, when it first leaves out, it's going to be very lime green. So you'll almost think it's reverted in the early spring. It'll leaf out on you and you'll be like, okay, I don't see the crazy variegation in it. But as the spring and summer emerges, you start to get more and more intense, sharp, almost like Tim said, that almost, it's all green and lime green, but you get that Mania Sato-like shaping on the variegation. It's very unique. It's a very compact, dense grower, an excellent candidate for container gardening. We've had good success with this one in full sun. I think some of the people in the hotter zones are going to want to try this one in late day shade, but it's done excellent for me in a full sun setting. And one of our very favorite variations here of Mikawa Yatsubusa.
And we've been growing this tree for a number of years, and it's been fairly hardy for us outside in the landscape and garden. I think whenever the original one died, they had some crazy fluctuations in weather down in Texas.
Well, sports can do that. Sports on the original tree can often revert. The variegation on this one has been extremely stable. I've never had a graft from Kryptonite revert, which says a lot for it for cultivar status. And I've never lost a 1 gallon of this. Some of the other, you know, we'll talk about Snow Kitten in a future video for sure. It is a weaker variegated form than some of the other variegated forms we like more. Kryptonite seems to be extremely stable and extremely durable. This one's going to work zones 5 through 9. Definitely in some of those hotter zones, you're going to need some late day shade. But this one brings the high intensity. It's probably the most highly sought after variation, I think, that's going to be coming out soon.
And I will say too, one thing that's unique about this plant, while Mikawa Yatsubusa often goes to that orange-red fall color, this one really seems to be going to more of that yellow-orange fall color, which has been really unusual in its fall color compared to many of the other Mikawa Yatsubusa forms, which has to do something with that variegated mutation that happened on this that gave that a different fall color than your typical Mikawa Yatsubusa.
Now, Mikawa Yatsubusa forms can be some of the most highly sought after forms of Japanese maples. I know what you're saying. There's a hawk flying over my head screaming, so it got my attention. But a lot of these will not be on our website at the time you watch this video because they sell out very quickly. So you'll want to sign up for our 10 at 10s to get notified when things are back in stock. The next one up on the table is Mystic Makawa. Now, when Mystic Makawa drops on Mr. Maple, we can have 50 of these and it sells out in less than 5 to 10 minutes. So it goes very quickly. It's always highly sought after. This is one of the best orange forms of Mikawa Yatsubusa, introduced by our friend Crispin Silva. I actually had a competing form of this. It was almost identical. I had one I was calling Oompa Loompa, and I saw Crispin's Mystic Makawa, and I said, we don't need two out there this similar. And so I got several of Crispin's, and I actually had more of Mystic Makawa than Oompa Loompa, so I had more interest at that point in getting Mystic Makawa to market. We've actually been growing this one for quite a while. I mean, I think we got this one from over 10 years ago. It's been a minute, and it's been one of our very favorite bold orange forms in the early spring. Now, I noticed the best color on this one is typically in full sun. If you get this one in the ground in full sun, you can get some of the best shades.
And the bold orange on this one, like Matt talked about, it is the most orange form of any of the Mikawa Yatsubusa forms out on the market today. And it's also one of the slowest growers. I mean, this one is extremely slow growing. This is probably 2.5 to 3 years old on this graft here.
Yeah, very tight and dense. Same could be said for kryptonite. I mean, both those are extremely slow.
Yeah, extremely slow. Again, selection by our good friend Crispin Silva. But this plant is just a bold orange. If you like all the different color variations, do go check out our Makawa Family Collection Part 1. We go through and talk about a green form, a light yellow form, a bronze form, and a bold red form. And this one is one of the best of the orange forms. So Mystic Makawa, amazing plant, and a real good slow grower out there. I've seen some people do this as bonsai already. Amazing with that bold orange on a Makawa type. It's almost like giving a Shinda Sojo type color with a Mikawa Yatsubusa variant.
Hey, guys, I'll tell you this. I know some of these can be frustrating because they sell out quickly on Mr. Maple. We always add our new plants on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. when we have good sets. And we're always working to make things we like, so any of these Makawa variations in larger sets. So you know when they're coming, and sign up to get notified, but definitely be checking those 10 at 10s. Be ready. When these do list, they do sell out quickly. But I always remind people, we don't price gouge with these. I mean, I think we're listing most of these at 45 to 50 on some of the rarest forms of these. You know, in the houseplant market, many people would be jacking that price up like crazy. I've seen this one sell on eBay for $250 for a small 1 gallon. We have tried to continually get good stock plants to get good signs to produce more of these. The problem with the Makawa types are they don't grow a lot. So you don't get a lot of growth because they're very dwarf. So it does take a while to build up big numbers. And so I feel bad for people because they'll say, I was ready for that Mystic. I've waited all year. We may list 50 of them and they sell out really quickly. But it takes us 3 to 4 years to get that 1 gallon set back ready to where we're happy with them, where they're a good size. We want to send you a good quality plant. So be patient with us. It's something that's always coming back. Any of these are going to keep coming back in stock because we love this type.
And the thing is about Mikawa Yatsubusas they are slow growers. So they do take longer to fill out a 1 gallon as well. And so when we have these plants available in 1 gallons, they will often be much smaller than something like an Emperor 1, which may be, you know, 1.5 feet, sometimes to 2 feet. And some of our large 1 gallons. The Mikawa Yatsubusa types are always going to be much smaller. And people often will get a Mikawa Yatsubusa type and they'll say, hey,
especially people new. Now, collectors know. These are going to be tight and dense, but people who are new to Japanese maples may be shocked at the size of a Mystic Makawa versus like an Emperor 1 or a Seiryu.
They're going to be very different. And that's just the nature of the plant. A 2 to 3 year plant on a Mystic Makawa is going to be much, much smaller because it is one of the slower growing of the Mikawa Yatsubusa variants.
That said, we always try to provide a really quality, nice sized plant that's well rooted in. And that's part of the process of getting ready. It's why it takes so long.
Definitely.
And this next one is even slower. This is one of the slowest variations of Mikawa Yatsubusa. Next up on the table, we have Acer Palmatum Tattoo.
Love this plant. Extremely slow growing, but it's also one of the ones that has one of the most unique leaf shapes.
Right.
It has a very heavily serrated and almost ruffled type edge to it.
I think this one's a great new feature that people should be going through Seeds of Tattoo to give us new variations from the Mikawa Yatsubusa family. I kind of trolled everybody in a few of our videos. Everybody that's older, I'm too young to have seen the show with Tattoo in it, but everybody that's seen it says, you know, the plane, they talk about the little guy that Tattoo's named after. And so I've continuously said the wrong TV show in our videos. So if you got a little triggered by that, I know that he wasn't on Gilligan's Island, but I kind of love getting the comments going to the comment section below. Tattoo named for its short stature for sure. Now this one gets to a very nice bold red in the fall. It's one of the densest forms of Makawa, and because that's one of the smallest. I mean, typically this one's only 3 feet in 10 to 15 years.
I mean, we've got one in our parents' display garden that's probably not much taller than 1.5 to 2 feet. We put it in as a large 3-gallon, and it's still not much bigger than 1.5 to 2 feet. I mean, this thing is extremely slow growing, typically gets about as wide as it does tall, makes a very nice uniform shape, but again, the texture this one brings with that tightly layering habit, a more deeply incised leaf, and that serrated edge gives Tattoo something very unique and very different, especially for Japanese maples, and even stands out in the Makawa family collection.
Yeah, it has a very ruffled, regal appearance to it. I'm a huge fan of the way this one looks. The leaf is just very distinctively different than Mikawa Yatsubusa. You'll often notice a Tattoo because of how small it is, but also that ruffled, you know, it just has that very frilly look to it. It's actually equally as durable to Makawa, so these are all going to work zones 5 through 9, and Tattoo can work in sun anywhere you can plant Mikawa Yatsubusa.
Yeah, amazing plant, extremely hardy. I know that one of the oldest ones is actually now at Edshin's garden, NJ Acer.
Shout out to Rudy Dex.
Shout out to Rudy Dex. Rudy Dex gifted him one of the larger Tattoos in the country. And it's just an amazing plant that's just tightly dense and it's just an amazing uniform shape.
So last up here on the table, we've got another variegated form. We were actually one of the first nurseries ever to offer this one. This is Acer Palmatum lily pad.
Now, lily pad was a sport found on Mikawa Yatsubusa by Don Schmidt Nursery, and we were blessed to get one of the first ones at the Maple Society auction.
Right.
And then we're able to get this plant into production and get this plant and make it available. Love this plant. It really has irregular variegation, almost like a Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, you almost get these little prawns over top of it, these little antennas going on. The reason it was named lily pad is because this one tends to get wide. So not very tall, but a lot of width. Typically 2 to 3 feet in height, but it's not uncommon for it to get 3, maybe even 4 feet wide and be a low spreading habit. Very unique for that Makawa style variegation, and it's just a really nice addition to the Mikawa Yatsubusa family. It's a sport found on Makawa. Very unique though. I think this one really adds a lot to what it can do. Great fall colors. You actually get some of your classic oranges and yellows, but then a slightly different color on that variegated border. So you can get some kind of yellows to that border where the rest of the color is already orange and red.
And this one just has that nice elongated foliage with that irregular variegation, very much similar to Acer Palmatum Dr. Seuss, which makes it stand out very differently from Kryptonite, which is more that Manino Sato style variegation. And its shape, the fact that this one just grows wide, gives it that lily pad appearance, makes this one a very uniquely variegated Japanese maple and a very uniquely variegated plant here in the Makawa family collection.
All right guys, time to put you on the spot. Let us know in the comment section what your favorite one is on the table today. But also, while we put you on the spot, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. It's one small click for you. It means a whole lot to us. We're putting out daily content on Japanese maples and daily gardening content. We're going and touring gardens. We're providing a podcast. So definitely support us by either shopping on Mr. Maple, that's the best way, but also subscribing to our channel.
I mean, these are some pretty cool Makawa variants.
I mean, it's hard to beat this. It's a video we've been wanting to make for a while. I'll definitely be doing some more walkthroughs that Makawa garden next spring as I get it established. I'm going to be moving a few things around this fall, kind of adding a few more variations there.
Do you think we could do a part 3?
I think we could do a part 3. I know some more that we haven't included here. Let us know in the comment section if you'd like to see Mikawa Yatsubusa family part 3.
We really appreciate you all watching today's video. There's just a really cool collection when it comes to the Makawa family collection. It's some of our favorite plants. I hope you can see and hear and really feel our passion about these cool plants. Make sure, like Matt said, to like, share, and subscribe. Take care.
God bless.
And have an awesome day.